heaps sick, eh?
Hi all, I hope you're doing well. In this video I'd like to run you through how I grow mushrooms at home, more than I know what to do with, and maybe inspire you to try this yourself, and maybe I'll run you through some of the pitfalls that I've run into in the last 6 months of doing this. So yeah, why might you try doing this at home? Well, I'll always say because you can, but but on top of that, I think there are certainly some dollar benefits to doing this. If you eat as many mushrooms as I do, this thing's paid for itself, God, twice over in the last 2 or 3 months. So what is this? So these aren't the mushrooms that you'll find in the shop. These are blue oyster mushrooms, which are an edible variety of mushroom. They taste very much the same, maybe a little bit better. The texture of them is also fantastic. I really do prefer these over the mushrooms that you'll buy in the shop. The other benefit also is that they're fresh as, like the flavour is really quite special. Now from the left, this is probably on its 4th or 5th flush now, so it would have started like this guy on the end here. This is on its 1st flush, and then I think this one's on its 3rd, and then eventually as it starts to kind of slow down, you'll end up with something like this. So these are kind of reusable as time goes on, only limited by the amount of water that's inside of these bags. So you'll see, this is the first lesson I have to show you, is these ones here I've actually taken out of the bag after the mushroom itself has colonized the substrate. And although I got some great flushes off it, maybe once or twice, these were harvested last night, they just don't really last the same length of time as these ones. Maybe that's quite obvious. This is something that I learned straight away. So the substrate that I'm using, these are from the left. So we've got coffee grounds mixed with microgreens waste. So I'll show you what that is in the video. This one here is microgreens mixed with sugarcane mulch, and this one here is straight sugarcane mulch. Now I've got these things, I've got maybe 6 or 7 of these in the cupboard ready to go, but basically as you put your substrate into these kind of mushroom bags that you'll buy cheaply online, and you'll pasteurize it gently, it's not at all like other species of mushroom that require much more sterile conditions to grow. These guys are basically the cockroaches of the mushroom world, not to turn you off eating them, of course, but they'll grow on old books, paper-based cat litter if you ask them to. So they really are a very robust mushroom. Now I started these from a liquid culture syringe that I bought off eBay for $16 about 6 months ago. Once you propagate that out, there's plenty of guides online on how to do that. You basically just have an unlimited culture that you can work from. Now, although many people will choose to add that culture directly to the substrate, what I'm going to suggest first up is actually making grain spawn jars, which gives you a much greater bulk of mushroom to begin with, and prevents to a greater degree the kind of contamination issues that people complain about. So I've really tried to push this into an idiot-proof kind of production line, so yours truly can have a reliable source of mushrooms. So it's not at all as hard as it looks once you get set up to do this. So the next part of this is the chamber itself. So this is a $29 greenhouse that I bought from Bunnings. Very, very cheap, but it certainly does work. And to that I've added a tote box. Anything down here will work. Mushrooms, of course, need very high levels of humidity to fruit like this, so anywhere from 85% relative humidity upwards to at least initially start fruiting, and then from there on you really do need to maintain those kind of numbers going on. And in this I've added, you can actually see it working in there, this is an ultrasonic pond fogger, and I bought that for 20 bucks off eBay, and it runs off a 24 volt power supply, and it just basically produces like a mist, which is like 100% humidity. Now I've got an old computer fan here which pressurizes the box slightly, and then I've got a bulkhead fitting running through PVC pipe all the way up the top, whole lot of holes drilled in there, and you just get this nice steady stream of really moist air that comes through that. and then the whole thing just recirculates through the chamber when it's turned on. Now, to control the humidity, this is another point that I'd like to make, is that not all humidity controllers are made equal. So I started out with, where is it? This little guy here. Now, I think that the sensor itself, let me show you on the side, the sensor is just not up to scratch. And it locked on to, I think it was about 99% humidity, and then it would never trigger its set point. So basically you set an upper and lower set point on these, and it controls a relay, which I have on the next one, connected to a power board. So from this I've got the 12 volt power supply, 24 volt power supply. If you've got the parts to do it, these are just what I had laying around, but if you've got the parts to do it, make it all 12 volt, you get one power supply. These are the ones, this is the current one that I'm running. Costs the same as this one here. This one also controls temperature. It's a panel mounted unit, and I just haven't worked out a better way of mounting. But so far, this one's been working for 2 weeks flawlessly. And this is the one that I'd suggest that you get. Again, I think it was $21 delivered. And I haven't got a PowerPoint out here, but don't tell the landlord. I just splice into the light fitting there. So all in, I think this box, even including failures of the humidity controllers, all in, that this thing has probably cost about $80, I think, in materials, and it's certainly paid for itself many times over already. So these are ready to harvest tonight. I'll have to find some way else of using all of these mushrooms. It's certainly not a bad problem to have, but hopefully this little rundown has I don't know, inspired you to try this yourself. It's a very rewarding thing to do, if only for the amount of mushrooms that you get on the cheap. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'd certainly try and answer them to the best of my ability. So see you next time.